My fellow Americans, as President and Commander-in-Chief, it is my duty to the American people to report that renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas in the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
When they drafted me and everything, I said, "Oh, what am I doing? What am I end up doing?" You know, that was a really weird feeling.
In the Vietnam War, I went over with a unit that was an aircraft maintenance direct support company to the Cu Chi, a base camp. And then I was transferred into the 25th Division to command what was Echo Company's 725th Maintenance Aircraft Direct Support in the 25th Infantry Division.
My job was actually in Thailand during the Vietnam War. I went to Thailand in January of 1974, and I worked in the port of Sattahip. Now, a lot of folks don't realize that a lot of the support, especially for the Air Force, was done in Thailand.
Well, I led the first heliborne assault in Vietnam. I planned the aviation piece of it and led the mission with 30 helicopters from both units. And it's kind of the sort of thing you tell your grandkids about and nobody else cares much.
I was a detachment commander. I was a brand new first lieutenant, and I commanded a United States Army Marine Maintenance Detachment in Da Nang, Vietnam.
Emergency medevac, ASAP. Chopper over. All right, somebody take time to wait on it.
It was a different world. It was a different country, a different army, and a different David Whaley too. So the hardest thing was explaining why we were there and what success looked like.
One of the hardest parts was when Vietnam fell and they began evacuating the Vietnamese out of Thailand. They would use general cargo ships to move them from a point in Vietnam to someplace else. Well, unfortunately, these ships were very, very overloaded with people, but they didn't have the facilities that you would think of a ship. So they just crammed people in there, and after the ships were unloaded, they brought some into Thailand to the port of Sattahip to be cleaned up. And unfortunately, not everybody made it.
The hardest part was when I was in Quy Nhon and everything, and I worked on the mic boats and stuff. I had a really good friend of mine that had, he was unloading the ship and everything with the mic boat. And one of the bombs had fallen in the deck, and it kind of exploded, and it killed him. And it wounded a couple of the other crew members that was on the boat.
We had one crew chief killed during my tour over there, and some more just after I left. But we took care of our people pretty well.
One night, the helicopter came around the point, the entrance to the harbor, and in a storm it blew it off course a little bit and a little bit too low, and it crashed into the water, and the two pilots both drowned. And we had to go out with my pilot boat, and we had to get them out and bring them back. That didn't make me feel good at all, I'll tell you.
The hardest part being over there was being away from the family. I was married and my wife was here in the Newport News area with our 5 children. And I missed them all.
Nothing ever happened, but some folks that were doing the same thing I was doing after I'd left the country They were attacked one night, and our colonel was badly injured enough to be medevaced out of the country. His driver was killed. There was another major that was killed. It was a pretty bad scene. So I was very lucky I didn't have to have any problem with that.
We had loaned this Huey to one of our supported units, and they had been in a big problem area where they got satchel charged and stuff like that, but not this aircraft, so they brought it back to us. What we didn't know was that the bad guys had taken a hand grenade, pulled the pin on it, wrapped tape around it, and put it in a fuel cell. Well, the fuel deteriorated that. They took off. I told them goodbye at it was approximately 10 minutes to 10, I think it was, because mass started at 10 o'clock. They took off, and they were out about 10 minutes out over the water going toward the Trang, and blew up and killed them all.
Being present while people are killed or shortly thereafter is not, it's a terrible experience that Americans should never have to experience.
We can't reach those big guns, and they just keep dropping in. There's nothing you can do. It's like being a big bullseye on top of a hill, and you're just sitting there waiting. You can't be safe. You can be lucky. That's it.
You can't be safe. You can be lucky.
That's it.
It's kind of hard to explain because you don't really think about it, you know, after all the years and everything that you've been out of there.
Well, I'm thinking back on the 50th anniversary of Vietnam, that we really didn't accomplish what we thought we were going to accomplish. And all of us that were over there were doing the job that we were asked to do. And many of them didn't come back. Their families were left without husbands, fathers, and I think that was a tragic waste.
I don't see where it's an anniversary where you would celebrate like a marriage. I know it's happened. I know it's, a lot of people, it's not something to celebrate, but it's something to give your thanks that you're here and to those people that we lost. I pray for them all the time. They're up there.
A lot happens in 50 years, but what the constant is, soldiers died for their country. Family members lost sons, fathers, brothers, sisters, and that needs to be recognized, not just for Vietnam, but for every sacrifice like that American military members make.
Soldiers don't decide where to go, they go where they're told to go, and they do what they're told to do. And in this case, our soldiers went, they served, sacrificed, and came home. So I hope this anniversary is remembrance of the sacrifices they made, and will give those folks who served in Vietnam proper from the early 1960s through 75 the proper recognition that they deserve for their service in Vietnam.
The reason we were as successful as we were was not me. It was our non-commissioned officers and our soldiers did an absolutely tremendous job.